meeting tomorrow in-house?
Yes, it's in this room. Hello, everyone. This is what is today's date? Today is the May 11th board meeting of the Bethlehem Public Library. Before we start the formal board meeting, we have a budget presentation. This is the budget that the public will be voting on Tuesday, May 19th.
So the proposed budget for 2026-2027 represents a 3.98% increase in the tax levy, and it's equal to the New York State mandated tax cap. I'll mention some key highlights of the budget. Contractual salary increases for the staff are included. Do we have some greater than normal increases in health insurance and retirement? We're seeing those costs increase steadily each year. Operational costs have remained relatively stable, although gas and electric expenses are projected to increase by about 30% over last year. The materials budget has been adjusted to reflect the actual patron usage. There continues to be a shift to digital materials usage. A small portion of our reserves has been allocated to support the budget and maintain our levy within the state mandated tax cap. We feel that this budget allows us to continue to provide the services and access that our community has enjoyed and come to expect. If anybody has any questions.
I just wanted to confirm that you mentioned healthcare costs are a significant increase this year, and that they increase at the federal level annually. But this year's increase was more than you expected. Was that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
It's a much higher number.
It's a higher number.
Previously.
Yes.
And if any members of the public are interested in previous conversations about the budget, you can pull up videos on our website, previous board meetings, or review our previous board minutes. Okay, if there are no other questions, we will call the May 11th meeting of the Bethlehem Public Library Board of Trustees meeting to order. We'll start by going around the table and introducing ourselves.
Sherry Whiting, board treasurer.
Michelle Walsh, trustee.
Laura DeBella, secretary. Jill Adams, trustee. Gail Sacco, trustee.
Mark Kissinger, I'm trustee. I'm on the UHLS board member too.
Jeff Kirkpatrick, library director.
Caroline Brancatella, president, and vice president Sarah Patterson was not able to join us this evening. In her place, I will read the statement that we read every meeting before we begin public participation. Beginning and ending each library board meeting with public participation is an opportunity for community members to express their thoughts on library operations to the board. Because the purpose of the monthly meeting is to conduct board business, it is not a time for back and forth debate with members of the board. If specific questions are presented during public participation and the relevant information is readily available, the board will make an effort to address the question in the course of the meeting. Otherwise, community members may follow up on any questions by directly contacting the library director or the board via email or speaking to them after the meeting. We will advertise organized opportunities to speak directly with board members. As a reminder, all library policies apply at board meetings, including the patron conduct policy and the harassment policy. Do we have any public participation today? Do we have any online, Jen?
No.
Then we will do a review of the previous meeting minutes and take a vote, and then we are going to move up an item from new business, which I believe is the only vote this evening, so that all board members can participate because some of us have prior commitments this evening. Does anyone have any questions or comments on last month's minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept last month's meeting minutes.
I second.
All those in favor? The motion passes.
There are, just a second set of minutes in there for the.
Oh, that's right, the Long Range Planning Committee. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns about the meeting, the minutes from that meeting? Would anyone like to make a motion? Gail? Laura, second. All those in favor? The motion passes. Okay, for the benefit of the public, down under new business, the first bullet is the H fund resolution. We are going to move that up right here so that we can take a vote, and I will hand that over to Jeff.
So I handed it to Sherry.
Okay,
Who can I pass it on?
That's right.
So the purpose of this resolution is to have the board approve the movement of funds from our general operating fund to our capital projects fund. In order to undertake any capital projects, we have a separate fund within our books for capital projects, and it has to be funded through our operating account, but the board has to approve movement of those funds. I think it was back in, I don't know, several months ago, the board approved a motion to move $150,000 for the boiler project into the capital projects fund. We've spent those funds down. There's very little left right now, and we do have a fairly significant bill included in the bill schedule. I think it's about $69,000. So we are asking for a motion to move $52,000 from the general fund to the capital reserve fund, and that should cover us for the rest of the expenses that we have, that are due on the project.
and to be clear, these are anticipated expenses. We are still under, and I believe that we had projected potentially $250,000 for the boiler. We are still well under that.
Right.
The first motion was to get us going, to have money in the coffers to cover that. This is to cover the balance of it, but we are still well under budget, and this is anticipated movements of funds. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the transfer of 52,000 from the general fund to the capital reserve fund.
Okay, a second? Gail? All those in favor? The motion passes. Okay, then we will stick with Sherry and we will go back to our financial report.
So expenses are overall are tracking about 2% under budget. Although there are a few areas that are over budget, and the largest being gas and electric, which is over by about $10,000. Other operating expenses are under by about 5%. Library materials continue to be under, but we continue to spend, and we spend more towards the end of the year. So I'm expecting to see that number go up. On the revenue side, we're waiting to receive the final portion of tax revenue from the school district, which is about $80,000. We won't see that revenue until the state budget passes. Overall, I'm predicting a surplus, but it won't be as large as it has been.
Just a reminder to the public is that our financial year, the library's financial year, goes from July 1st to June 30th. We are not on a calendar year, so what Sherry is saying that we're heading toward a surplus, that is for the budget that is slated to end at the end of this coming June.
Sherry, why do we have to wait for $80,000? That seems like a lot of money, and why is it dependent on
Well,
the state budget being passed?
Yeah, I'm not really sure why that is, but the school district does withhold a little bit of the funds. 80,000 on 4 million, it's not a huge amount of money. And so maybe, I don't know what the percentage is, I can't do that in my head, but it's not a huge amount of money, but that has been the practice, and Jeff probably can speak to the reason why a little bit.
So what happens is that's the portion of the school taxes that haven't been paid. So some people just don't pay their taxes, right? So the people that pay, it goes to the school district, they give us our portion. Some people don't pay their taxes. And what happens is at the end of the state budget, the Counties are, the county takes on that, the debt basically of those unpaid taxes and gives the money to the school district. The state makes the county whole. The county makes the school district whole, and the school district makes us whole for that levy that was passed. So it's just, some folks just don't pay their taxes, and that's the state. Effectively, the county takes on that when their mortgage goes into arrears, not their mortgage, when their taxes go into arrears, the county takes on that, owning that. So there you go. So. State folks, get us.
Yeah, if you want to scroll up, Jeff, and, you know, just to show the budget where we are. I don't know if anybody has any questions, or if there are any questions about the bill schedules and the bills that are set to go out.
I was just curious about the photocopier amount going up. Is that 30% or something?
Photocopy revenue.
Yeah, yes.
People are using our photocopy
They are, we
machines
have
a lot
two,
more.
we have two, and, two photocopiers, so this is basically the money that comes in through people printing directly and or using the photocopiers.
Those revenue items are hard to project.
Sure.
You know, it can fluctuate from year to year, so basically when we do the budget, we kind of look at trends, we look to see what's happened in the prior year, what's happening in the current year to date, which is usually only about halfway through the year, and we just try to make a good projection.
Sure, I have no complaint with the budget.
Yeah.
Trying to guess what that line is based on previous.
Yeah.
data, But I think somewhere else in the report, which I won't remember, was about the from home printing.
Yeah, the
And that's
French.
up.
We haven't been doing that long enough to know. I would be interested, but we're coming into the end of the year, actually, it's a good question. As we get towards the end of the year, we'll be able to look at year over year, computer use, which I think will be up. And when computer use is up, printing is associated with that, and I'm guessing that's going to be a significant portion, but I don't want to drop a dime on that until I can see those end of the year statistics, but it will be higher than last year. I'm expecting that in-house use kind of stuff to go up, and I bet that's what that's related to.
Okay, good, thanks
It's a
for
good
the.
question.
Yeah.
In the check list, forgive me, I'm trying to find it on my phone, I can't. And I think there was elevator.
Yeah.
What's the company? I'm sorry, I'm blanking the name of the company. I was just curious if it was routine maintenance or if there's something wrong with it.
Nothing's been wrong. That is our annual, I'm gonna guess this as I find it, it's our annual contracts. We have a contract that, so they come in and service it all the time. You have an elevator, it has to be serviced all the time and verified and checked, so I'm
I
guessing.
just didn't know if there was
It
something.
was major, says Otis Elevator.
Otis.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hold the contract for our elevator maintenance. And then if there's a part that goes wrong, that's not covered under that service contract. So that's the only time it would be above and beyond that if it was something went wrong. Yeah. What we do? No, we
On the-
absolutely on the warrant. Yeah, the financial report of the warrant.
You're right, sorry. Any other questions, comments, concerns on the financial report or anything else? Sherry,
I don't have anything else.
anyone like to make a motion to accept the financial report?
I so moved.
Okay, Jill, second, Michelle, a second, all those in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Yeah, the personnel report.
Okay, other than a date that we're gonna check on there, I think you're right, Gail, I think that's we're gonna look at
Just
this
a typo.
26. Yeah,
Yeah,
just a
just a
typo on
typo.
this particular date, but there's no actions requested this month. So I don't have anything for you to vote on. Just note the personnel.
Jeff, we can go to your director's report.
Okay, so I will hold off on the very exciting boiler report till later. We'll talk about that. Likewise, we'll talk about the 59 Borthwick House. I do want to say that the members of the Del Mar Progress Club went shopping with our folks from the maintenance department and bought a bunch of flowers that will be planted. They're going to have a volunteer day where they're going to come by, members of the Progress Club will come by and work with our maintenance staff to get those annuals put in to just start the brightening up of the year. And there will be a red, white, and blue theme to many of those flower beds this year, given the 250th anniversary. Okay, on that, we'll move along to just an interesting statistic. As you know, we've expanded our newspaper holdings. It's that digital collection has been a focus of use. And so in here are a couple examples of folks using our newspapers and how much that's increasing. So we added this service relatively recently, and we're seeing even year over year. We're seeing good use of that Newsbank service, which is all those new newspapers. And inside Newsbank, of course, the TU is our number one newspaper by page views here. Then the Daily Gazette, the New York Post, Buffalo News, Post Standard. I'm always interested in this stuff. I thought that was an interesting step to put in there. And then the Watertown Daily Times made our top list of the most popular newspapers that people are accessing.
And I am correct, you just have to log in once and you get access to all of the newspapers. You don't have to log into every newspaper separately, except perhaps the New York Times.
New York Times, Wall Street Journal have a slightly different process, but the TU and the rest of these New York newspapers, it's a Newsbank login. Yes.
Well, you sort of just answered my question. I was wondering, where's the Times?
Yeah, we'll get those. Yeah, yes, they're held by they don't sell their product through Newsbank. Newsbank is an aggregator of a lot of newspapers, but the Times and the Wall Street Journal are big enough. In fact, those are paid for by the Albertson Library System, so they're not directly our product. But we can get stats for those.
So I'm actually thinking I should stop my subscription to the TU, but the TU costs, I think, $22 a month. So if you get it through the library, I'm saving almost $250.
Annually.
Annually. Yeah.
It's a great service. Very pleased.
Yeah.
And then we just talk a little bit about our one-on-one tech help, which has been another focus of the library. We certainly do small group classes, but really a lot of folks want a one-on-one appointment. So I just want to put a little bit of information in about what are people doing? See, what are they doing there? And there's just a whole selection of different subjects that people need help with their technology. Yeah.
So when I read this, I wondered, is there a place on our webpage where you can say, make an appointment with the librarian to talk about tech stuff? Or do people just walk in and say, I really need to speak to
The
someone?
answer is yes. So sometimes we run a program. I'm looking up at Chris. We'll run a program that is a tech help time that people can sign up for, but also people come in at the desk and can receive one-on-one tech help right there. But what will happen is if it gets too complicated for sort of a catch-as-catch-can tech help, then we'll kick it off to an appointment and make an appointment with the library.
Okay, so
Come to
there
the
is a
desk.
place on the website to make an appointment? No.
It'll be announced in the footnotes when we do sort of the times that we do those.
Oh,
But
okay.
I would say just call the information desk or come in. That's the best way.
Or you can chat in.
Yeah, you can chat in. That's
Chat
true.
with the information that's from home, it's great.
Oh, you mean chat, like text?
Well, there's a chat.
Chat box right up
And
there.
it's a real person, it's not a bot.
That's true.
So, yeah.
From the website, you find
Yes.
chat.
Yeah. And
Such a great service.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're ready to do formal, like put that in the calendar and have people sign up like a program. It's a good idea.
I would think it would be so useful.
Yeah, it is very popular. And that's really a lot of what the reference work is now, is helping people both. We offer things that involve a lot of technology and people need help with that, but then that bleeds over. So it's, helping with Libby, helping with Hoopla, what's wrong with my app on my phone? And then that bleeds into a lot of other technology help that we provide for folks. So lots of great programs. I'm not gonna belabor the point, but you can read on through. Lots of good stuff. The competitive puzzling continues to be popular. We showed the movie The Librarians. If you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, I encourage you to go. I think WMHT is even making it available for free for you to watch that either through WMHT or on YouTube. So it's a great documentary to watch.
I have a question about puzzling and
Yes.
mahjong,
Yes.
which in my mind is very activity that people come in. It's not a formal learning setting, it's just participating. So it's that third space idea. Are they periodic, regular, like is the mahjong once a month? Or is it?
Mahjong is once a month. I mean, I don't want to say it's exactly the same. It's not like, oh, it's the third Thursday, but they do it regularly once a month. And we're working with a local volunteer who does all the work setting up, and she's our mahjong expert. And they're working with one of our librarians, and they've got, as you saw in the report, they've got the group broken out. Yeah, we do it once a month.
And the puzzling?
Puzzling is not as regular, but yeah, it will happen periodically.
Right. Just gonna always promote the regular, because if people know that, you know, the third Thursday, oh, I can go to the library, perhaps it's more likely to get that spontaneous going.
Fair enough.
Jim,
For the tech help.
Okay, great. It's embarrassing for me, but I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yes. Michelle, you can sign up for the tech.
Okay, thank you for.
I have a question on the puzzling too. Is there
Yeah.
non-competitive puzzling?
There's not, there is. So every day, that's.
I know there is.
It's a great question, right? But so as a program doing a non-competitive puzzling, I don't think so. But we do,
You know, puzzle out, right?
we have a puzzle out, it stays up, and they're supplied by the library, but we don't really manage it. That's managed by the community.
Yeah.
And they'll come in and choose a puzzle, and they'll work collaboratively, and really the community works on collaborative to do that. So that's how we do that, but it's an interesting concept that we bring people in and say, no, don't rush.
I'm wondering what you're gonna do, with these wonderful comments that people made, so many ideas to explore together.
Yes.
How clean the library is every day, which is really important, I think. You know, comforting and enriching. I'm wondering if you have any plans to take, they're lovely signs. And I'm just wondering if you are talking about using any of those phrases or marketing or in the back of your head on your parking list. Are you guys gonna talk about that a little bit?
I mean, I definitely think we should include that in our long range plan discussion. And I'm gonna put it in the board packet and make sure that the board knows about all the wonderful things that our community says.
I was thinking maybe the weekly newsletter could have a banner that says, this is what somebody said about us, with maybe one of the phrases from the board. I mean, something, it's nice to know that the community is saying such nice things. Even the comment about the Borthwick House is kind of nice because they want to see it used for the library.
Yeah,
So-
no, it was nice, and that's just, for National Library Week. One of the librarians put up a display out there and said, this year's theme for the National Library Week was spark joy. So it's like, what sparks joy about the library? So we definitely were asking about things that were gonna spark people's joy, but we were always happy when we put something like out for the public and then they participate.
The fish tank, lovely librarians and all staff. I just think, you could do like a little banner or something to let people know how you are loved.
I like it. Kristen's nodding at me, so yes. The answer is yes.
Change at least.
So gardening programs, as always, very popular, and more of our food-based, we do the spice sharing. This we had a history of tea, so we did a tea program. It's great, and then all the virtual programs again continue on in the background. Continue to be very popular, and then so much interaction with our who would win top bracket, and we didn't say it's not a fight, it's not in anything, just who would win, and you come up with your own contest between the two. Like Winnie the Pooh, took it all, awesome. Yeah, exactly. I really thought Smog the Dragon might do better, but he was knocked out relatively early in all contests, so.
Winnie the Pooh has history.
Yeah, exactly.
Rugby against Pooh.
It is.
So again, all the National Library Week, We talked about this, and then do want to mention the weeding in the children's room. Folks will notice changes over there. We had really wanted to get that truck up. The truck is here in the building to go up in the children's room, but it will be put up shortly. I don't have it up by today before the board meeting, but I can't report that that's the case. So it'll be going up shortly. So more changes coming to the children's room. More exciting, fun changes over there. Lots of wonderful programs. Again, all of, as Gail noted last month, just the steady and heavy use of those children's early literacy programs continues to be one of our cornerstone functions that the library provides, and with good reason. Staff are doing a great job putting those programs together. We had the art show was here last month from the Bethlehem School District, and then they had a couple of their closings were here, and it's always fun. It gets so busy, and then all the kids come and take their arts off the wall, and then all of a sudden it's super quiet. It goes from being it's incredibly like beehive kind of business to quiet stuff. So it's nice. And then just because I'm such a library guy, we had the library backstage pass for kids. They get to come here and put a card in order, get to see what's going on behind the circ desk, see what happens when you drop a book into the Bookie Monster, what happens after that, and do a story time for each other and pretend to be a librarian for a day. So
great.
it's fun, right? I was thinking maybe lots of people want a backstage pass.
Yeah.
We should just do that for everyone. What do we do back there? What's going on in that back room? So, and then we had the author of one of the American Girl Doll series came in and did a presentation in the library. So that's always great when we can get an author into the library. And awesome stuff. Continued on, and then just a wrap up of the outreach at the elementary schools and the continued success of those programs and how appreciative folks are. But if you want numbers, the YMCA Healthy Kids Day interacted with a lot of folks over there. So the just two things to note here as far as information technology. You rightly talked about the print, that service, which is nice to see. It's adopted anytime there's a new software. It can be confusing for people, but it appears to be working along. It's not working tonight. It turns out it's having a little bit of an issue, but people seem to be working along with it pretty well, which is good. And then I did just want to mention because it's been mentioned at Hudson, the web accessibility compliance was pushed back a whole year, but we're staying on track for we're going to meet our target, our original target. Our goal is to be ready by next April with all of our websites being compliance because we're about access. We should be doing that anyway. I did want to mention quickly the partnership that we have with Town of Bethlehem and the Environmental Commons. We're going to have an art show and then a bunch of associated programs coming up in October. More news on that later on after the summer in the footnotes, but it's exciting to be focusing on farms and farming and regenerative practices in our community. So here, and then lots of continuing ed stuff. As far as the statistics are concerned, and now I will roll down here and look at our computer signups. Again, this month, we saw about an 11% increase. And then if I'm looking at fiscal year last year and fiscal year this year, we're already almost at the number of computer signups, and we've still got May numbers and June numbers. So that when you're talking about the photocopier and printing costs affiliated with the computer signups, when I look at this number here, if we're almost already at last year's number, just in our fiscal year to date, and we're still got several months left, that would lead me to believe that our computers are being used a lot more this year by a sixth, which is not 30%. It is, and we did add that second photocopy, so that you can.
I think also my experience with my adult and adult children is they do stuff on their phones or on a device, but they don't have printers.
Yep.
And then they come into the library and they do need a printed copy. And so they come into the library because the library is the place where they can call it up and then print it off.
You got it. And I think that's true. A lot of folks you know, not just for the printers, though, I think printers used to be fairly common in people's homes and it's less common
We
now.
have two.
You have two, okay, so you're in a rarefied group.
Yeah.
But similarly, a lot of people, their primary internet access device is their phone. And then there's some things you just have to have a computer on. So if you don't have a computer in your house, and a lot of people are choosing not to, they do most of the things on their phone. Every once in a while, you need to do something on a computer. They come here and do that, and that's the technology that we've got, so I think you're 100% right. Thanks. I think that's it.
Okay, any other questions for Jeff?
Just want to thank the two people who went to the Public Library Association. Reports. Enjoyed reading.
I was very jealous of. I know there were mixed reviews, but Brian Stevenson is like a personal hero of mine, and his book is one of my favorite books of all time. So when I saw that, I was like, how can I go to this conference? So that's a pretty amazing opportunity.
That's his second time. That's his second time speaking at PLA. So I saw him. Chris, were you with me when we saw Brian Stevenson last time? I don't remember exactly. Many years ago, we saw him talk there, and then so brought him back. He was popular enough. They brought him back for a second time, so that's pretty good.
If you can let them know, you know, I'm sure they took time to write out their reports. We do read them.
I will.
They're interesting. And
No, I tell them it's really, and I appreciate that you do read them, and I know that you do, and that's why when we send to the state level or national level conferences, I like to include the reports right here, where you can hear right from the staff. It doesn't have to get filtered from me. So.
And learning, I mean, I just like knowing that you're going to a place and hearing all these other ideas and getting inspired, right?
Yeah.
That's why I like to go to conferences. But I was particularly interested in some of the ways to get teams coming in,
Yeah.
and services for teams, and seeing that other people, although trouble isn't quite the right word, but there's room for improvement in that age group. And it's nice to see other ideas and ways to go about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually wondered about some kind of a small partnership with Del Mar Marketplace that could let the teens build a little bridge to the library. I don't know if that's possible, but say
Big
all.
advertisement.
And I heard that, now it's the Del Mar Marketplace and the Del Mar Scoop, which I have to say has very good ice cream. But I was thinking, you know, maybe if there's, I don't even know how, but maybe if there's some way to build like a little partnership that might help them to then walk down the street, or at least know that they're welcome.
And I know, like my son went to there was an evening, they had switch.
Yeah.
There was only like 3 kids at 6 o'clock, but maybe, you know, somehow advertising at Del Mar Marketplace, hey, 4 o'clock, 4:30.
After you get your
Head
snacks.
over to the library, walk down to the library and, you know, have some group gaming time. I think that's a great idea.
Non-competitive puzzling.
Collaborative. That's fun.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Do we have anything from you, HLS, to report?
Now the meeting is Wednesday, so share on the night one.
Jill, anything from the Friends?
Sure, I went to the Friends meeting and I'm glad to see some friends in the room with us today. The main thing is, I asked if any more thinking had been done about storage space, if we are making our plans for what to do for this property. And I got a reply which had a lot more questions. How much will it cost? How big will it be? And it's more like, well, what do you need? And anyways, it prompted a good discussion, I think. I was glad Jeff was there to help me with some of the specifics. Friends want to know when we need an answer and suggested by their August meeting, so sort of end of the summer. And so they are going to work towards our next meeting, looking at different shed kind of things and how much space and how much they would cost in different places. Potentially renting a storage space offsite and what that cost would be, with the added perhaps negatives of having to drive books back and forth before the book sale. Anyways, the discussion took on, I think, more immediacy, maybe is the right word. And so hopefully, and I know these are big decisions and there's a lot to talk about and think about, and nobody really knows what the future is, but we do our best and try to make a guess. So that is moving forward. So otherwise, the book sale is this weekend. So please come. There was some discussion what to do if it's gonna rain, but right now the weather looks good, right? If there's no rain plan, but it's a spirited discussion about various rain plans. And keeping the numbers inside the building low if it's pouring outside.
To that point, Jill, thank you for raising that with the Friends, and I think that the discussion and the immediacy of that is very good, especially because, and the building committee will be discussing this further tomorrow at our meeting. But in the I think more likely than not event that the board engages a construction manager for the Borthwick, for the taking down the Borthwick property, being able to engage that individual, that group in discussions about what would be needed and, maybe get some additional information about how storage could work. Having access to that individual, which would be through our projected time of demolition, which is the end of the summer, would be very helpful, I think, for everyone as part of that discussion. And I'll move up a bullet here under new business. Well, actually, it is in fact the next bullet, since we've already done the H fund resolution. So I think that a lot of people in town know that as Jill said, the Friends of the Library book sale is this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. here at the library. And individuals can drop off books within certain parameters. Friends, help me out. Thursday
from 12 to 4:30.
Thursday from 12 to 4:30 here at the library. The Friends are usually outside. They will be accepting book donations, books in good condition.
Yes.
And are we abiding by the 10-year rule or within reason? So, so if you have books to drop off, please do so. Just a reminder that the book sale is a cash only. So no cards, no checks. So bring your cash and leave with a pile of books.
Do DVDs, not DVDs and tapes sell at the book sale? They do not, so they're not.
Only from the library. The library, their discards,
Okay,
but we don't accept those from the community.
okay.
Right, Jeff?
That's correct.
And I believe 2 t-shirts will be for an ordering form, right?
I think the bookmarks that
Uh.
that you can order yourself through this website called Zazzle, which you can also get at the checkout desk, but they will be around at the book sale. There was a discussion of selling mugs with the Friends logo
Right.
on it.
Yeah.
There's not time to do it for the book sale. The profit margin is low, but there's some consideration for doing it later, perhaps as a promotion to join the Friends or some other way. So we're still, that's sort of still, it's been tabled for now.
As always, thank you to the Friends for their efforts on this.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a great event for the library. Or as run by the Friends, but it's a great event, I would say, for the community as related to the library. Okay, any other new business from anyone? Then we will move on to old business, my most very favorite subject. Jeff, the boiler project update.
We're so close to done and having a meeting with no HVAC mentions, but the boiler is running. It is moving in my packet you saw last week. There was a part that needed to be replaced. Part's been replaced. They figured that all out and the boiler is up and running, and so it's doing its boilerish thing. Luckily, it's a cold spring, so we're getting a good test on the boiler and it's helping out in the main part of the library again. Boiler doesn't touch over on this side of the building because of our asbestos ceiling, but on the other parts of the building, the boiler's up and running and helping regulate the temperature and the humidity on that side of the building. And that is a function of the boiler that a lot of people don't know, is that it helps control our humidity. So summer's coming. Eventually, it will probably get warm and humid around here, and when it does, that'll help control the humidity.
I have a question about, or is it
Yes.
efficient?
It is more efficient. It's what's called
Save money as as prices are going up, like,
I mean, we will save money on the use of the boiler, certainly. The old one is what's called a conventional boiler. The new one is a condensing boiler. That has a couple of really good effects. Not only is it more efficient because it recaptures some of that heat from the exhaust, it also makes the exhaust less hot. So there's good for lots of reasons to have a cooler exhaust. And it is more efficient. But I would not bank on the return on investment being like, this is why we did this. We did it because we needed a new boiler. Yeah, and so yes, it will help save money on our gas use during winter in the future. The thing I keep saying is the air handlers on the roof, the forced hot air part is the Batman of the system. The boiler is the Robin of the system, and so it helps regulate those big. So that gas use is what it is.
And I just want to say congrats to everyone on getting the boiler completed. Not just the boiler, our maintenance staff, Jeff, this was identified as the #1 priority to deal with in terms of building maintenance after some of our previous plans did not pan out. And considering the regulatory, I will say red tape that the library has to deal with, it is, I make no comment on this, but we do have to deal with it. I'm very proud that we got that done, I think, very efficiently within a reasonable amount of time, certainly before the boiler became a problem, and under budget. So congrats to everyone. Very excited to have a new boiler for next winter. Well, for now, because it's cold, but heading into next winter, I hope that will be a one less thing on everyone's list to worry about.
Yeah, thank you. No, the closeout, to your point about the regulatory stuff, there's a lot of closeout that has to happen with the Department of Labor and the Department of Education. So that part of the project is what's going to be going on now, but it's nice to have it up and running and inspected and checked out and
That is the most important thing.
yeah. So that
Library
is
is heated, everyone.
that is brand new. That is hot off the presses this week. So that is great.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, on to other priorities. Jeff, update on the 59 Borthwick project.
Okay, so I met with CS Arch. They delivered what they are going to call their 50% design development, sort of the design development phase of this architectural project, and it is primarily an architectural project. We're hoping to move through that very quickly. The meeting was good. We re-explained some of our priorities. We talked about the desire to have some of the utilities there are the order of our preference for those because they don't all have the same weight. And we also talked about how we might and where we might situate the shed if we were to eventually go with a storage, just to get that in so it wouldn't be a surprise to them. And if there's anything that we can do now that kind of head the project in a certain direction that would allow for that to be as easy as possible. So that's all good. And then we'll have our, mostly what we did was set the schedule for the project. And the big news to come out of there is that it is anticipated that we will have a design to the board for the June board meeting so that we can vote on something at that June board meeting. And then from there, bidding process and all of that, and still be able to meet our sketched out timeline of when we want to have this project actually completed and started and completed.
Yeah, and a lot of the detailed discussion of that will happen at tomorrow's building committee meeting, which is at 6 p.m. here at the library, including discussion of a construction manager, ensuring that any construction plan has, I should say, architectural plan has all of the things that we have prioritized to kind of look ahead. So the committee will report back to the board next month, and if we need to get any information to the board prior to the June meeting so that we can effectively have a vote on things, we will disseminate that as necessary. But like I said, the most robust discussion will likely on moving forward will happen at the meeting tomorrow and then continue into June's board meeting. But we're still at this moment on schedule for a late summer demolition.
Grass by September.
Congrats by September.
You know, and if we don't get there, we don't get there, but because we'll have good reason that time, but it's just, it was a good meeting to make sure we were marshaled and headed in the right direction.
Hey, the Long Range Planning Committee met last week and Mark is very generously taking point on a lot of that. Mark, do you want to just give a brief overview of what we
Yeah.
discussed and where we're headed?
Sure, we did a discussion about kind of the principles and the approach on the long range plan. I took Gail, it was helpful, we put out a draft to the committee for comment, so in that process, looking forward to any comments, and once we get those in, we'll get together and figure out whether we can get the next version out again to pretty soon. So we're on track.
Yep. I think the goal is to get a draft to the board when we decide by September,
October, yeah.
because we will need to have the new plan voted in by the end of the year, so we want to give everyone lead time to make sure that they have the opportunity to review that and, you know, we can discuss and make edits as appropriate.
When do you want comments?
Yeah, we're on table.
I need a deadline.
Can I?
Where would help you?
June 30th,
Shoot. Oh, no, that's too long.
June 1st,
How about Memorial Day weekend?
June 1st.
I'll forget it on.
I'll send that.
I wrote, you know,
You just-
I have like words, you know,
Yeah.
but I wanted to look at something.
That's cool.
Put them
Yeah.
in the sentences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
With that, I'm gonna excuse myself.
Yes.
Because I'm going to see my son in his middle school spring concert.
Um,
So, got through most of the agendas.
you did, I'm very impressed.
My apologies.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, does anyone have any future business?
Um,
Sorry, I should say, does anyone have any old business first? Go ahead.
No, wait for future business.
Hearing no old business, Michelle, future business.
I had a procedural question. I just wondered earlier when we did the minutes of the, what did we do? The minutes of the, was it the long range?
Yeah,
Planning, yes.
Yeah, so the whole board voted on that, but the whole board didn't attend that, so I actually didn't vote. I was like, wait, because I was gonna ask the question, but then the vote went so quick, I didn't even get the chance
I
to.
believe that you can,
to
vote,
ask.
because you have the opportunity to ask questions on it of those that did attend
Okay,
and
It's,
rely on their representation. Go ahead, Jeff.
and it's similar to if you don't attend a board meeting, you still vote on the next month's minutes if you're at the next meeting.
but see, we've had a few meetings where someone who didn't attend.
They really shouldn't be. The answer is they should absolutely be voting on them.
They
because
can,
it's
you
just-
can always choose to abstain to vote, which I think is
Yeah.
what some people.
Yeah, no, I know, I just, literally a procedural question, I just
Yes.
wondered.
It's because it's, and particularly that meeting, in person here, and there was a quorum. So like by an officially, it's a board.
Yeah.
Our board agrees that we don't take action. That's why there's never any votes there. The board, even, you've got 4 people at that meeting, 4 board members at that meeting. It's open to the public, just like a board meeting is, but we agree that we don't take action in those committees, and that's, and we have never and will never do that. And so, but the potential exists because there's 4 people in the room.
Mhm.
It's a board meeting, so.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff, I was wondering.
Thanks for asking the question.
So if you could give us an idea of what the library plans for the 250th anniversary, because you mentioned it several times.
Yes,
But if I kind of know what you're thinking about, then I can use my mouth to let my neighbors and things, to advertise and help
so
promote it. So if you can, maybe you can just send us an email.
I'll show you an email, but I will say the first thing, the most important thing is the first. Sponsored by the Friends, that's why I like this one, sponsored by the Friends of the Bethlehem Public Library. The first evening on the green will be a week earlier than it usually is. And will feature the Lock Radio Rounders, and we'll have a 250th anniversary theme this year. So I would hype that one up right now, and then I'll put all the rest of that together. So
Yeah, just so that we kind of can know and talk to people about it.
you bet.
Yeah, on that note, I was ability to attend all the 250th people were in the LOB the other day, and there was no one there, so I felt bad for them. So I walked around the tables and there's all sorts of counties have resources. And WHC was there, took a card, I was gonna send it to you. They're willing to help and do screenings or whatever. So there's a lot of resources out there. If you need help with.
You bet. And I know, one of the other things we're doing is that the Friends are running a very special bus trip in October, which normally they don't. They're gonna run a bus trip up to Fort Ticonderoga on the day of the Battle of Fort Ticonderoga. There's gonna be a special tour up there. So
Very
that's fun. It's good. It's good.
I will say Fort Ticonderoga is very fun.
So super
Much, I think it's much, there's much more there than I think a lot of people anticipate, so I highly recommend that.
Is this considered an annual celebration, a whole year's worth of, from July 4th to July 4th, or?
Well, I mean,
I don't know
Sure.
what people are doing. I guess I'm asking, are people considering, or are they just thinking they're gonna July 4th and the next? you
well,
know?
we're starting in June, so
Wow.
we're gonna start early. We'll be running it certainly into the fall. So, I don't, whether we go all the way to the following July.
I would guess that the fever pitch would come in the summer.
Yeah.
Around it.
That's what I think too, but I was just, it seems so nebulous. People are-
Yes.
Does anyone else have any future business to raise? Is there any public participation in the room? Is there any public participation online?
I think our online public participation.
I've told you,
Really.
the one time I don't ask is the one time.
No,
I'll ask.
forget, so nope, there isn't.
Okay. Then, much to my astonishment, we can come to the end of our agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I so moved.
Bill, second? Michelle, all those in favor?